Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Flight Podcast. My name is Jacob Shanker.
And I'm Andrew Thomas.
Shut up and sit down.
Before we get into this podcast, we want to send our deepest condolences to Jacob Blake and his family.
What happened to him and his family was terrible and should never happen to anybody. The officers that committed this horrible act must be punished for their actions. To learn more information about how you can help Jacob Blake and his family, click the link in the bio.
Jacob, we have seen this shooting take a toll on the world. We have seen this in sports, as players around all sports have been boycotting their games, in which the NBA, WNBA, and MLB then proceeded to postpone their games for the next few days. What are your first reactions to this?
You know, these are tough times in the country. We've seen things like this time and time again as racial injustice throughout the whole country, throughout America. And the one thing that we can do is unite, just unite the people. There's this saying I once heard that says, "So powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth." And it's a very strong message, as through unity you can see progress in this world. As we've seen recently through the NBA, WNBA, and MLB postponing their games, this shows that, yeah, the games are fun and they're exciting to watch, but what really matters in this world is that we need to make sure that everyone is equal and that everyone can live peacefully together. And I think that what the players are doing is a great thing, and it's a very powerful message. What were your reactions, Andrew?
Well, yeah, obviously going off what you said, taking action is something that's almost always effective, and it needs to be done at times. And yeah, at the end of the day, we're all people, we're all ordinary, we're all the same, and we need to be treated equally. And as this is said all the time, that we need to be treated equally. But like you gave a quote, I'm giving a quote. Saying something is different than doing it. And these NBA players, they've been doing it. They've been doing a great job. They're raising awareness in the world. And the BLM movement is continuing to grow. And the police need to just take it down, and we need to get on with our lives and keep this up and keep the world a better place.
Yeah, that was a very powerful quote, Andrew, and you're 100% right. Things need to be set right in this world.
Yeah, well, off this topic, and the NBA and the players agreed to resume play on Saturday. So, Jacob, with the playoffs coming back up, who do you think are going to win the remaining series, starting off with the Bucks and the Magic?
I got the Bucks winning in 5. I think it's the clear choice. I think that game 1 was just a fluke. I mean, Giannis has just been spectacular. I mean, honestly, for me, I think I've seen the Bucks been just as a whole has just been struggling. Like I said, yeah, Giannis has been amazing, but Chris Middleton hasn't been as good. Eric Bledsoe, Brooke Lopez, they've been fine, but they haven't been as good as they normally are, which I think is definitely going to hurt the Bucks in the long run, as we've seen a lot of teams in these playoffs so far doing so well, including the Heat, the Celtics, and the Raptors, who I think are going to be a big competition to the Bucks.
Yes. I completely agree with you. I don't think that it was a fluke in game 1. Obviously, I think that it was just the Bucks were just not playing good as a whole. Obviously, it was basically just Giannis. But something that is going a little underturned is that Nikola Vucevic has been doing absolutely phenomenal for the Magic.
Yes.
And he was the one that basically carried them, essentially, in that game 1 victory.
Yeah, you're right. Vucevic has been amazing. I think he's been a top 10 player in these playoffs so far. Has been very surprising. And yeah, like you said, he's been leading that Magic team to even getting one game on the Bucks, which I don't think either of us thought, and I don't think anybody thought that they were going to get one game on the Bucks. But they did it, and it's great that they did it. So, but I still think that the Bucks are going to be able to beat them in 5.
Yeah.
So, who do you think is going to win the Lakers and Blazers series, Andrew?
Well, if you've been living under a rock, Damian Lillard is not going to play. He is leaving the bubble for a knee injury, so I see the Lakers easily winning this game and moving on to the next round. I don't think there's much to be said. Lakers are top 3 team in the NBA right now. It's really not that hard to see that they're going to go to the second round.
Well, yes. I mean, obviously, I know you know my point of view. Obviously, Lakers in 5. I mean, without a doubt, LeBron, AD have just been lighting up the floor, been doing amazing. I know you think that LeBron didn't do well in Game 1. I think he played a
Because
great
he
game.
didn't do good in game 1 and he didn't do good in game 2.
He didn't do good in Game 2. Game 1, I thought he did well. Could he have scored more, and should he have not passed as much? Sure, but I still think he played a great game.
Not
And
great.
yes,
Okay.
I think that was a great game. I think 23 points, 17 rebounds, and 14 assists is a good game. Are you kidding me?
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you lose.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I still think he had a great game, as everyone else didn't have as good of good of a game. Did they play better in the second game? Yes. Did LeBron not play as well in the second game? Yes, but games 3 and 4, he played very, very well, and I think that they'll be able to finish out strong. But yeah, I got Lakers in 5, and they're going to beat the Blazers. I mean, I definitely think it's that Damian Lillard has honestly just not been that good these playoffs. I think he has been getting his points, but he hasn't been as efficient. He hasn't it's really just been the points that he's been getting. He hasn't been getting the
Well,
assists.
yeah, but also, sorry to cut you off, but also very quickly, it's also because he got injured with his dislocated finger. That's also probably part
No,
of it.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, it's hurting them. I mean, that's the major factor for the Blazers. I mean, I don't think CJ McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic are gonna be able to try and carry that team to beat the Lakers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically the fact that Damian Lillard's injured, which is why I have them winning in 5.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's move on. Next matchup: Clippers versus Mavericks. Clippers are up 3-2. What do you? Wait, is it 3-2? Yeah, 3-2. What do you think is going to happen in Game 6?
I think with Porzingis being able to rest a few days as the Mavericks and Clippers game got postponed, I think this is going to help the Mavericks as Porzingis will come back, hopefully in Game 6. And I think if he does, the Mavericks will be able to beat the Clippers in Game 6 because honestly, I think the Mavericks are a big competition for the Clippers because the Mavericks have been doing so well in the first round so far. Luka Doncic has been amazing. I think he's been a top 5 player in the playoffs so far. He led that team from a 20-point deficit against the Clippers, which I think was one of the best games I've ever watched in playoffs. I know we've said this, but I really just have to say it again. It was one of the best games I've ever watched in the playoffs. Luka Doncic played amazing. That Mavericks team played amazing. And the Clippers, they didn't play as well. Kawhi Leonard played well, but that was really it. The Clippers needed to do more. And I think with Porzingis coming back, it's going to hurt the Clippers. And I think it will go to Game 7. But when it comes down to it, and ultimately, I do think that Kawhi, he has been an amazing player, and I think he'll come through in the end. And I think Clippers could win in 7.
I think they're going to win this game, with Porzingis or not. To be honest, Paul George, his cold streak is gone. If he drops at least 20 points, which he should, which he probably will, because playoff P is back, baby.
I don't know if his cold streak.
Patrick
Sorry to cut you off, but I don't know if his cold streak is necessarily back. I mean, he had one good game in a while since 2014. He had one good playoff game. I mean, he's been not good for the Clippers, not what the expectations were for everybody. Everybody, including us, had him as a top 10 playoff player, and he has not been anything like that.
I didn't have him as a top 10 playoff player.
All right. Well, a lot of people did. I did. I thought he would be at least 10th or 11th, but he really hasn't been like that. So, I mean, I think you can't really say that he's in the playoff P mode because of one game. I mean, look at the other games.
Jacob, he dropped 35 points in 25 minutes.
Okay, and he also dropped 10 points in multiple games on terrible shooting. I think he dropped 8 points in another game.
Okay, LeBron James dropped 10 points in a game. Does that make him terrible?
No, because the rest of the games he played well. This was one good game Paul George had during the playoffs.
He's had 2 good games. Game 1 and Game 5.
Okay, but not what everybody expected him to be. Game 1, he was fine. It wasn't great.
Yes, it was.
Not,
he had 27 points on 50% shooting.
Okay, but overall, he has not been that great of a player. He has not been helping the Clippers. Game 2, 3, and 4, he was not good. If you want to compare LeBron, besides his game 2, obviously, yeah, that wasn't that good of a game, but he's been dominant in every other game. So I just think that
you know what I'm going to say about Game 1, and that he lost and he wasn't great. He didn't
I
put
know
up
you're
enough
going to
points.
say that. I know you're going to say that, but
yeah, because honestly, with AD playing bad Game 1, he should have gone off.
Okay, but he's
talking about how LeBron is the best playoff player in the world. I don't
he
think
is, but
LeBron
we're not going to get into that right now. But I really just don't think playoff. I mean, I don't know if he's going to do as well. That's the one thing. I could be completely wrong, and he could have another 35, 40-point game. Or he can just have a 5-point game, 10-point game. That's the thing that's wrong with Paul George. He's very inconsistent.
All right. Let's move on to next matchup. Thunder versus Rockets. Jacob, who do you got for Game 6 in this series?
You're going to be happy. I got your Rockets. But it's going to be a fight. I think they are going to push to Game 7, as hopefully Russell Westbrook will be coming in and playing in the next game. But I honestly think that it'll go to Game 7 because the Thunder have been putting up a fight. They've been playing great in the last 2 games. And I think it's going to be tough for the Rockets.
Well, if Russell Westbrook comes back for Game 6, I say that the Rockets win pretty easy by more than a 10-point margin, because it took Dennis Schroeder a 30-point game, which I don't think he'll have again, for them to win against the Rockets. I think the Rockets will win in Game 6. Yeah. With Russell Westbrook, definitely, and I still think that they'll win in Game 6 without him if he doesn't come back.
I don't know about that. I mean, without him, I think the Thunder have a bigger advantage. But
obviously.
With Russell Westbrook, I think they definitely could win that. But I still think that they'll put up a fight. I still think that it'll push to Game 7. But those are just my thoughts. All right, let's move on to the last matchup, which for me has been the most surprising and the most fun to watch in this.
Definitely most surprising.
Definitely the most surprising. The Jazz versus Nuggets. Who do you got winning this?
I got Donovan Mitchell because, one, he has just been amazing. And, like, with that 57-point game again, with the 51-point game, he's averaging over 35 points, I think, something like that, which is absolutely phenomenal.
You got the Jazz, though, right?
Huh?
You said you got Donovan Mitchell. You meant you got the Jazz, right?
No, just Donovan Mitchell, because he's basically carrying.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Yeah. But it took Jamal Murray a 42-point game for them to win the game and not lose in 5 games. And basically, I think that Nikola Jokic, he had a phenomenal first quarter. You can look at the box score, but it doesn't tell you what he did outside of the first quarter. He had 21 points in the first quarter, 8 of 8 from the field. He only had 10 points in the second, third, and fourth quarters, which is not good.
Yeah, I agree with you. Donovan Mitchell will win this series. No, but seriously, yeah. I got the Jazz winning this. I mean, I think the Nuggets – I mean, I had the Nuggets winning this in the start. I thought the Nuggets are going to win this in maybe 6 games.
So did I. I had 5 or 6.
Yeah, but this has been very surprising. I mean, Yeah, Donovan Mitchell has been great, but it's also been Rudy Gobert. He's been great. Mike Conley's been great. I think Jordan Clarkson has been very solid off the bench. I mean, I think it's really countering the Nuggets play style. I mean, I think Jamal Murray has just been amazing. He had that 50-point game, and then he had that 42-point game, like you said. But I think what really needs to happen is Jokic just needs to do more. Like you said, yeah, he had a great first quarter, and they did win that game. But I really think Jokic could have done more. It really was Jamal Murray's game that game. And I think that if the Nuggets are going to try and win this game, that Jokic needs to pull through. They really do.
Yes, it's like the case for LeBron. LeBron needs to score more points. Jokic needs to score more points.
Exactly. But LeBron is still going to succeed whether or not he scores points because he always does.
Conference finals, and then he's out.
We've seen him score that 10 points, and yet they still won. So,
although I'll give him credit, it was still more than he scored in the 2011 finals game against the Mavs.
Thank you. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Before we go, Andrew and I would like to tell you about our favorite commercial that we saw probably of all time, which honored
definitely of all time, without a doubt.
It honored the great Kobe Bryant. We've added it to our link tree in our bio, so please go check it out.
It really was the best commercial I've ever seen. Feel free to comment down below what your reactions have been to the postponings of the NBA, the NHL, and the MLB, and which teams you think are going to win the remaining series in the NBA playoffs.
Thanks for listening. See you guys next time.